So I just got finished watching Evolve, and thank God Jackson Drake retained the Evolve Men's Championship in the main event. As you all know, Jackson Drake's my favorite wrestler currently on Evolve, and I was so stressed, especially with him getting called up to NXT recently, that he would lose the championship to Kam Hendrix. While I wouldn't mind Kam Hendrix being champion, I'm invested in Jackson Drake being champion, and I don't want to see him continue being champion, and he successfully retains. Now granted, this match was a goddamn mess as all of the PC guys came in, beat Jackson Drake up, then all of the ID guys, who we'll get to how they teamed up later, came down to ring to beat them up, caused a massive brawl, but eventually it allowed Kam Hendrix to be isolated. Swipe right hit their finishers, Cappuccino Jones hit his finisher, and then also Jackson Drake finished it all off, and he retains the championship, man. But I don't think he's gonna hold it long. Now granted, okay, this match was fantastic. I loved it. Even before everybody came to interfere, the match was really good, and you really had me feeling like Kam Hendrix could win this match. Thankfully he didn't, and then yeah, the interferences, it all made sense. It was a lot, but it was good. That's all there is. Some might say it was overbooked, and maybe it was, but sometimes overbooking can be entertaining. I think this is one of these cases. But back to what I was saying, I don't think his reign is going to be long, because at the end of February, we are getting the season finale of Evolve, and then season 2, I believe, yeah, you can call it season 2, of Evolve is going to start the week after, and that's going to be Succession 2, which I think that's where Jackson Drake loses the championship. It's unfortunate, but he's on NXT now, and he's probably going to be a major part of NXT, so it would make sense if that is where he ultimately ends up losing the championship, which will suck, but I'm excited to see who's going to be the one to challenge him, because I'm actually betting money on the fact that he's losing it there. Not actually, but like hypothetically. Now, to the stuff that were leading up to this match, all the PC guys were in their locker room when Joe Henry later in came out, and since he lost last week, he was forced to clean their locker room. But later on during the night, Jackson Drake and Swipe Right managed to make peace with the ID guys, and in return the ID guys would have helped him out tonight. And Aaron Rourke even flirted with Jackson Drake. My friend Alex said he thinks Jackson Drake got sexually assaulted, which, like, maybe, you know, if you look deeply into it, he possibly did. But anyway, all the ID guys then later on go on to help Sean Legacy to just clean their locker room, just standing united, and that ultimately is what led to the united force that stood up against the PC guys in the main event to help Jackson Drake retain, because even though they don't like Jackson Drake, they still want the championship on one of those guys. Jackson Drake still kind of is one of those guys, at least at the time the show was recorded. Now to the other matches of tonight's card. The first match of the night was Tyra May Steele defeating Carly Bright. Fairly good match. Happy to see Tyra May Steele finally get a solid show. I think she can be a big deal. It just, you know, I'm kind of conflicted on how I feel about her being here, because she won LFG, and LFG was like, you get an NXT contract, right? And I get it, she has probably not evolved as good as they wanted her to, but I still feel like, you know, you can't really have the LFG winner who gets an NXT contract be on Evolve. Regardless, I'm excited to see what she does here. I'm also excited that we finally got to see Carly Bright again. Even though she lost, I feel like she has one of the best character arcs that could be told. It's not being told right now, but if they actually developed it, it could be one of the best character arcs right now on Evolve. So I'm just excited to see if these two have a big future, or at least a major part in the show further. Nikita Lyons and Ariana Grace are also still trying to make peace with themselves. They're trying to be better people, so they dance with Layla Diggs and Mason Holiday. They don't do it very well, and they really don't want to, but they try, and I've really been enjoying the storyline. Again, something that also just conflicts me is how it's being told across multiple shows. But you know, I don't know if you watch TNA, but I would low-key like if they could go to TNA and challenge for the Knockouts Tag Team Championships. I think they could actually win this, because they're a really interesting team. And then the match after that was also another match with not really a lot of stakes. It's Drake Moreau versus Big Sam Holloway. And you know, Sam Holloway doing the shit he does at the size he does, that's crazy, man. He jumped over the top ropes. The dude, you see how big this dude is? Jumped over the top ropes. Crazy. I could never. I'm not as big as that guy. I'm like 5'11", so like it would make more sense if I could do that, but for him at his size, damn. But he does lose. Drake Moreau picks up the victory, which low-key I was disappointed in. I like Drake Moreau. I know him a lot more than Sam Holloway, but you know, every time I see him, I really like Sam Holloway a lot more, and he has been getting a lot more attention since this whole ID thing got together. So I was kind of rooting for him during this match. He kind of won me over. I hope the dude does more stuff, because I want to see him. I want to see everybody on Evolve do more. Low-key, Evolve is the only show right now in wrestling where I would say give it more time. I would generally like a 2-hour Evolve. Maybe I'm like being way too optimistic. Hell, even an hour and a half. If you could give me an hour and a half of Evolve consistently, I would be so happy. And I guess this is gonna be a very short video because like we're about to talk about the final match, which like it isn't the final match on the show, that was the main event, but we already talked about everything. So the final match we're talking about is Dante Chen versus Trill London. And I'm sorry, right? To all the Dante Chen fans out there, why? Why are you a Dante Chen fan? It doesn't make sense. Like, why does he defeat Trill London? Trill London, like, I love Trill London, man. Trill London, outside of Jackson Drake, my favorite wrestler, so second favorite. Why didn't I just say that? Regardless, I was really hoping he was gonna win. The guy oozes charisma out of his ass. So I was rooting for Trill London to win, but Dante Chen defeated him, and I can't bring myself to care about Dante Chen, man. Everybody else on the show was cool. I loved him. I don't see anything of Dante Chen. Tell me seriously, do you think Dante Chen one day is gonna make it to the main roster? Like, no offense to the guy, he's great, he's talented in the ring, he seems like a nice, likable guy. I just don't see it. I don't want to see this guy on my screen. Like, all respect to Dante Chen in the world, man, but yeah, I don't know. I don't get why you want. I like that they're trying to do something with him, making him more vicious. But after the match, he's still a nice guy. Seems interesting, but I don't give a damn. But if I had to give tonight's show a rating, probably 8 out of 10. No, 7 out of 10. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It was a really good episode of Evolve, but for whatever reason, the matches didn't feel like they meant a lot outside of the main event, and the story that was told from the beginning of the show to the end of the show about the World Championship scene, that was really the best parts of the show, and that alone made me so invested in this show. So I have to give it a 7 out of 10, but the matches didn't really mean a lot of stuff, and for a few of them I felt very conflicted about what I thought, but that's just me. But overall, the show was still really fantastic, so I can't really give it anything less than a very good rating, which 7 out of 10 is still really amazing. So yeah, that's my review for Evolve. If you like it, leave a like, subscribe. I cover NXT, Evolve, and TNA every single week, including all of their pay-per-views, special events, and all that kind of stuff. I also have a podcast with PUWF, which you should check out. It's every Thursday. So leave a like, subscribe, and I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye, everyone.